He was one of Hollywood's most celebrated actors, an Oscar winner and star of House of Cards, revered for his talent and charisma. But behind the fame, Kevin Spacey faced a wave of sexual misconduct allegations that would shake the entertainment industry and leave his career in ruins.
Actor Kevin Spacey's sexual abuse trial in Manhattan federal court started today with jury selection. Cameras were there this morning as the Academy Award winner walked into the courthouse. Broadway and television actor Anthony Rapp is accusing Spacey of sexually assaulting him at a party in 1986 when Rapp was 14 and Spacey was 26.
For decades, Spacey's name was synonymous with acting brilliance and stage mastery. However, beginning in 2017, multiple men came forward accusing him of sexual misconduct spanning decades, including incidents involving minors and colleagues. The allegations unleashed a media firestorm, initiated criminal investigations, and ultimately ended Spacey's Hollywood career. The first public accusation against Spacey came from actor Anthony Rapp, who stated that Spacey made a sexual advance toward him when he was 14 years old. Following Rapp's revelation, numerous other men shared similar experiences, alleging unwanted sexual advances and misconduct by Spacey both on and off set. Investigations and lawsuits followed. In Massachusetts, a criminal case was opened over an alleged 2016 assault on a then 18-year-old man. In Los Angeles, other claims were examined. While some cases were dismissed due to lack of evidence, expiration of the statute of limitations, or withdrawal by the accusers, the pattern of allegations significantly damaged Spacey's public image. The fallout in Hollywood was swift and severe. Netflix fired him from House of Cards. Scenes were reshot in All the Money in the World to replace him with Christopher Plummer, and numerous stage productions removed him from projects. Spacey's career, once at the peak of prestige and popularity, effectively collapsed overnight. Though some legal cases ended without conviction, the court of public opinion had already rendered its verdict. Spacey's professional life remained under scrutiny, with survivors and journalists continuing to discuss the allegations in documentaries, interviews, and media coverage. Kevin Spacey's experience became a major example of the broader Me Too movement, which encouraged survivors of sexual misconduct to speak out against powerful figures in entertainment and other industries. While he avoided long-term prison sentences, the damage to his reputation and career was irreversible. Kevin Spacey's story is a cautionary tale about the consequences of abuse of power, the complexities of sexual misconduct cases, and the challenges in balancing legal outcomes with public accountability. He was one of the most powerful producers in Hollywood, a kingmaker who shaped careers, created blockbusters, and controlled an empire of influence. But behind the fame, wealth, and award-winning films, Harvey Weinstein operated a dark system of coercion, intimidation, and sexual violence that thrived in silence.
Harvey Weinstein has been arrested and is now heading for his arraignment in New York.
Yeah, he is facing criminal charges now for the first time after more than 80 women accused him of sexual misconduct.
There are happening across the country in New York, but so much on LA's radar because he was a Hollywood mogul, and so many of the women who have come forward are Hollywood actresses.
For decades, whispers followed Weinstein. Rumors of hotel room meetings, aggressive advances, and young actresses suddenly disappearing from projects. Many tried to speak out but were silenced by NDAs, fear, or the industry's protection of its most powerful figure. Everything changed in 2017 when brave survivors broke the silence, triggering a global reckoning. Their stories revealed a horrifying pattern of rape, sexual assault, manipulation, and systemic cover-ups that led to Weinstein's convictions in multiple jurisdictions and reshaped Hollywood forever. Harvey Weinstein's rise began in the 1970s, eventually co-founding Miramax and later the Weinstein Company, studios behind hits like Pulp Fiction, Shakespeare in Love, Good Will Hunting, and The King's Speech. With each success, his power grew, and with it, the network that protected him. Survivors described a strikingly consistent pattern. Weinstein would lure women to private meetings under the guise of work. A script read, a casting opportunity, a film discussion. The setting was almost always a hotel room or isolated office. From there, many reported being pressured into massages, cornered, coerced, or assaulted. Women who refused faced career sabotage, threats, or blacklisting. Rumors circulated for years, but they were buried by legal settlements, confidentiality agreements, and Weinstein's immense influence. Assistants, lawyers, agents, and even colleagues became part of the machinery that kept his victims silent. Everything unraveled in October 2017, when the New York Times and the New Yorker published explosive investigations featuring dozens of women, including well-known actresses, detailing decades of sexual harassment and assault. The stories spread worldwide, triggering the rise of #MeToo, one of the most influential social justice movements of the 21st century. In 2020, after a highly publicized trial in New York, Weinstein was convicted of third-degree rape and a first-degree criminal sexual act. In 2022, a separate Los Angeles jury convicted him of additional charges, leading to a combined sentence that ensures he will spend the rest of his life in prison. Weinstein's downfall was not just a criminal case, it was a cultural earthquake. Hollywood agencies reevaluated their power structures, studios rewrote harassment policies, and corporations worldwide were forced to confront decades of ignored abuse. He was an Oscar-winning filmmaker celebrated for masterpieces like Rosemary's Baby and Chinatown, a visionary whose work defined modern cinema. But behind the accolades and acclaim lurked a dark secret. Roman Polanski pled guilty to sexually assaulting a minor and then fled the United States, becoming one of Hollywood's most infamous fugitives. In 1977, the world discovered that one of its most admired directors had crossed a terrifying line. Polanski had sexually assaulted a 13-year-old girl in Los Angeles, and despite pleading guilty to unlawful sexual intercourse with a minor, he escaped sentencing by fleeing the country.
You know what happens to nosy fellows? Huh? No?
He became famous as the director of such classics as Chinatown and Rosemary's Baby. But ever since 1978, Roman Polanski has been infamous for having sex with a 13-year-old girl and fleeing the United States. The 76-year-old director was arrested Saturday in Switzerland on his way to the Zurich Film Festival.
Over the next 4 decades, his status as a fugitive would ignite global controversy, raising questions about justice, privilege, and the tension between artistic genius and criminal accountability. Roman Polanski's legal troubles began in March 1977. He was arrested after a 13-year-old girl accused him of drugging and sexually assaulting her at actor Jack Nicholson's Hollywood Hills home. Facing multiple charges, Polanski eventually struck a plea deal. He pled guilty to the lesser charge of unlawful sexual intercourse with a minor. Despite this plea, before final sentencing, Polanski feared a harsh prison term. In February 1978, he fled the United States to France, never returning to face the remainder of his sentence. From that moment on, he became an international fugitive, living primarily in France and other European countries that refused to extradite him to the U.S. Over the years, efforts to bring him back to face justice continued. In 2009, Polanski was arrested in Switzerland at the request of U.S. authorities, but he was later released after the Swiss courts denied extradition. Legal battles continued, but he effectively evaded imprisonment, maintaining a controversial career in filmmaking and even winning awards abroad, including another Oscar for The Pianist in 2003. The case fueled outrage worldwide. Survivors, activists, and legal experts criticized the decades-long avoidance of justice, while fans and some film institutions defended his artistic contributions, sparking intense debate about separating the art from the artist. Polanski's fugitive status has defined much of his later life. He continued to work internationally, earning critical acclaim and directing films that received major awards, but his criminal past remained a permanent shadow. The case reignited global conversations about celebrity privilege, accountability for sexual crimes, and how the justice system treats high-profile offenders. The survivor, now an adult, has spoken publicly about her ongoing trauma and frustration with the legal system, emphasizing that decades of evasion did not erase the harm caused. Meanwhile, Polanski's case remains a cautionary tale, illustrating the tension between fame, influence, and accountability. Roman Polanski's story is one of genius and infamy intertwined. He created cinematic masterpieces that shaped Hollywood history, yet his criminal actions and flight from justice left a permanent stain on his legacy. Decades later, he remains a fugitive, a symbol of both artistic brilliance and the consequences of evading the law. His case continues to spark debate, challenging society to weigh talent against accountability, and reminding the world that some crimes cannot be hidden behind fame or genius.